Yay! We get to do a show.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Oh, I seem to have forgot something.
Uh-oh,
Oh, well.
where'd we go? Where? Oh, there we are. Okay.
There we are. Okay. Hello, 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 my lovelies. Welcome back to another episode of Unprinted Pages. Today's episode is slightly different from normal. Today's more of a padded cell version where we explain as authors about very hard things, especially as we have finished the haunting season and we're going into the holiday season.
Yay!
And that's a hard time for so many. With me today, we have the amazing Ron and the beautiful
Amazing.
Patty.
You give me
She
too
is
much credit.
everybody's fairy character and everybody's favorite martial artist. So,
I don't
welcome
want
to
that.
the show, guys. We have
Well, thank you.
finished. We have finished October. We have finished everybody's favorite spooky season, and that is hard for so many. And the time has changed, and it's getting dark earlier. Has that already affected your attitude towards life and writing?
Patty, you want to go first on this one?
Not really, but I feel like yes and no. Year round, I do try to do the whole writing at least a poem a day, and I try and do at least some of a word count every day, and I don't always manage it. But this time of year is always harder because there's more demands on my time. There's a whole lot more people who suddenly want me to pay attention to them. People that any other time of the year don't have any interest in me suddenly want my attention. And while that's useful, it's also, it makes you sit there and think, well, why are you paying attention to me now when I'm not a part of your life any other time? And then you add in everything else that goes on. There's trying to get the writing done while there are days when you just don't want to get out of bed because it's so dark by the time you do get out of bed. And you're wondering, why are you doing this? Why are you getting up? The depressive elements that go along with this time of year make everything harder. So, yes, the writing's different, but no, the writing isn't at the same time. I don't know if I made that make any sense or not.
You made perfect sense. What about you, Ron?
As a person that is occasionally hit with a seasonal affective disorder, which conveniently spells out SAD as an acronym, I try to distract myself by doing other things, so I'm not focusing on what it is that's making me sad or giving me seasonal affective disorder. Uh, I I do a technique that I call changing the paradigm. This is nothing new. It's essentially reframing how you perceive things, just restructuring your thinking. So when I get sad or when I get depressed or I feel like the feeling of the season is getting to me, then I try to remember to change my paradigm to maybe perceive it in a different way. You mentioned the time change. Now, for me, as a commuter cyclist, uh, I don't drive, so I ride my bike to work every day. Uh, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. I work from home on Mondays and Fridays, which is great. On Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Now, of course, I'm leaving the house at by 6:30. It used to be by 5:30 because I was going in and getting there by 6, but now I'm actually in there by 7 because of the time change. Uh, so it's dark when I leave the house, but it's always been dark when I leave the house because I get up extremely early. The problem is when I would get off work and then I would go hit the gym, I'd get my workout done. It would still be bright and sunny and 80 degrees outside when I leave the gym and I get home. And I still feel like I got plenty of time left in the day that I can sit down, relax, cook my dinner, maybe watch something on TV before I get involved in doing anything else. I have to go to bed. But now, when I leave the gym and it's almost 6 p.m., it's just starting to get dark. And I feel like, where did the day go? Like, I don't feel like I got anything accomplished, even though I've done exactly the same things that I always do. It's just now it's darker. And the more we get into winter, the darker it's going to get at 6 p.m. And then I get home and I do the same thing. I'll sit down or I'll cook my dinner and I'll sit down. Maybe I'll watch a little bit of TV. And next thing you know, it already feels like it's 9 or 10 o'clock at night because it's so dark, even though it's only like 7 or 8. I'm like, I got to go to bed because I got to get up early in the morning. Now I feel like I've wasted my time when I could have been doing something else productive, like writing. So I was all in. I wanted to commit to this November 50K, and now we're in day 8, and I haven't written shit. I've done literally nothing. So this past week, I know I'm droning on here, but I'm getting to a point. So this past week, I'm sorry. I was in a training class all week for work. And because it's a virtual class, I got permission to telework all week. I've been at home every single day, and it has been fucking beautiful. Just having that, like, no stress, no pressure. I get up right at 6 a.m. I log in. I go get my breakfast. I grab my Monster. I log into my class. I'm done by 2:30 every day, and it's still bright, sunny outside. Go to the gym. I get my workout done. It's not quite 6 o'clock yet, I come home, still a little bit of daylight left. I cook my dinner. I sit down and watch TV. It's been fucking relaxing. It's been great. I still haven't written shit, but man, it's been a good week. It really has. And I loved it. I loved every second of it. So I figured because I'm going to be at home this entire week, that it would allow me to get back on track with my nutrition and my workouts, which were falling by the wayside because of haunt season. I wasn't working out nearly as much because my body just couldn't take it after haunting. And then I needed that time to relax. So I wasn't working out when I should have been. So this week I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get back on track. I'm gonna go to the gym every single day after work. I'm gonna cook a healthy meal after I get home from the gym. Gonna drink my protein shakes, all of that. And I did exactly that. I accomplished that. And because of that, it's been a great week. And I have not felt yet, anyway, the seasonal affective disorder that would normally start hitting around this time. And that's exactly what I'm saying. That's what my point was. Try to distract myself by doing things that keep me from thinking about that, which is exactly what I did this week. Now I know as we get closer into winter, and it does start getting darker and it's going to start to snow. That sucks for me as a commuter cyclist because I still have to get to work regardless of what the temperature is outside and how much snow there is on the ground. That's a pain in my ass every year, but there's nothing I can do about it. You know, I still have to do it regardless. So now this is where I have to change my paradigm. Where think about how much better in shape I'm getting because I'm doing that. I'm withstanding the cold. I'm actually out there riding my bike in this weather, and it's keeping me fit. And I just try to change it to something positive, that this is actually benefiting me because I'm still getting out and doing something active and productive when a lot of people choose to stay at home, cuddled up in their fleece blankets, sitting on the couch, watching their true crime shows. And I'm out putting in the effort. Mostly because it's my job and I have to, but I just try to change my paradigm, that I can turn that something that ordinarily would be a negative into how is this actually benefiting me. And I think that's a lot of what people, they need to realize when doing, or when feeling that seasonal affective disorder. Just it's hard to do, but you can train yourself to do it, to change your paradigm. Try to look at it from another perspective. And if you have a hard time seeing it, ask someone like me, and I'll be more than happy to help you figure it out.
That makes sense. This episode's going to be a bit different. I'm going to chime in on every question because I feel like I can come in on the mom side with the younger children, because Patty can come in on the mom side with the older children. Ron with as a single man and also a haunter and an author, and Patty is a poet, and she has two different she has a pen name and her name, so everybody has something special about them. For me, uh it feels like there's less time in the day with the time change. I have pinned out an entire story and I have plotted out in another one, and then somehow I've written like 3 poems. I have written more than I have in a month, but also it feels like I'm getting nowhere because nothing's getting clean as much as I'd like. The laundry, no matter how hard I try to get it caught up, it's always there. But then again, I have so many people in my family. That is making it harder. That, and there's things outside of my home that is making it harder. And having to have stopped to do the more important things that happened last month, and at the end of the previous month, that had to happen ahead of anything writing wise or PA wise or scheduling. And I wanted to say this one thing for all authors that are giving that are making their own ads, putting their own ads out, keeping stuff scheduled. I'm hearing all across the board it's hard. Marketing is hard because I've been through 5 different companies' marketing classes. I've been through marketing classes online. I am doing all the things that, short of being a one of those cold messengers. I am not going to become a cold messenger. It is bad for business as far as I'm concerned because I don't want to talk to them. I don't want, if you cold message me and I don't know who you are ahead of time about your business, I'm not going to look at your stuff. But if you are in the group I'm in and I know you're in the group and you're like, hey, I need to talk to you about this, I will automatically know that, hey, you're in the group. You're one of the authors too. I'll talk to you. There's a difference. But all of that together, because you have the outside forces of your house, you have the job, you have your normal cleaning of the house and taking care of the kids and teaching them and raising them. That does not make writing easy. That does not make marketing easy. That does not make talking to other people easy. And especially at this time of year when you feel like you can't be enough and you can't do enough for those most important people because you don't feel like you have enough to do it. You don't have enough money to get the things they want for Christmas. You don't have enough to make sure they get the clothes, or the bills seem like they're all just getting more expensive as we go, because everything 3 years ago, I could get more 3 years ago than I can today with the same amount of grocery money. And this is everybody across the board. And I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that all those things are making it hard to be more creative. It's making it hard to make sure everything is gotten. And it's making it hard to give more of you when you feel like you don't have anything left. My next question is this Fave 50K and all the pad challenges and art challenges. Having done them, do you feel like trying to keep on top of them, or even if you're behind, they help you become better at your craft? I guess let's start with Patty again and then move around.
I muted myself because I was getting an echo, so I was trying to help. Yes and no. Sometimes when I'm struggling to figure out what to write or what to draw, but I know that I need to write or I need to draw because I'm sitting there going, okay, there's too much going on. I can't think. I can't concentrate. I can't do anything. Sometimes those challenges give me a direction to put the creativity. And that makes it, I want to say, easier to keep it going. For me, anyway.
Yes.
That's not necessarily going to be the truth for everybody, though. Just because I find prompts to be helpful on occasion does not mean that everybody will. And that's why the way the Fave 50K was set up was, even if you're not going to make 50K, even if you just want to say, I wrote this day, that's okay. Because not everybody's going to be able to reach 50K. And if you set it up so that that 50K is the only way to be successful in that challenge, you're going to make a lot of people end up feeling like they're worthless because they cannot reach that goal. Like where Ron said he's been working, that alone can make that goal impossible to reach sometimes. And like right now, my youngest is moving out into their own space. That's making my life very busy right now. That's making me very busy right now. If I were to judge myself for my word count, most days I'm only able to get at best 300 words. I'm never going to reach 50K in a month with that kind of word count. Or how about the writers that do kids' books? Kids' books don't reach 50K. Kids' books at best have 1,000 words. That's assuming it's a large kids' book. So are they to be left out? It's not fair to judge everybody on the same standards. For me, the challenges help. That's not to say it's going to help everybody.
Ron? And thank you, Patty. That was very actually helpful. And having it acknowledged that they don't always help everybody helps too.
The bottom line is that the ideas don't stop coming just because you're not writing. I consider myself a creative person, but I am, for lack of a better way of putting it, situationally creative. It usually takes something to spark it for my creative juices to start flowing and put me in that mindset of I need to write. So posting the little prompts and the little challenges, and I read them and go, oh, that's interesting. I have an idea for this, or, I don't have an idea for this, and then I move on to something else. But the need to write is inversely proportional to the motivation to write. You could have a lot of need to write, but no motivation to do so. Or you have a lot of motivation to write, but not the time or the ability to do so. So then you're stuck. This was one of the problems that I have with haunt season. Well, I mean, I guess it wasn't a problem. If I'm changing my paradigm about it, then I could say that it was incredibly productive insofar as the idea process, just not so much the writing. In between groups coming through my scene, when I had downtime, I'm putting my brain to work, thinking about the ideas of stuff that I want to write for the novel, or for the short story collection, or for some new ideas that I had that I want to work on as well. And just working through it in my head. What is the best way to do it? Who's the best character to tell the story? Or how is the best way to start it? Can I map it out in my head? I want this to happen, this to happen, this to happen, and this to happen. So even though I'm mostly a pantser when I write, I still do a fair bit of planning in my own head before I actually sit down at the keyboard and start typing it out. So I'm putting my brain to use in between groups coming through my scene and thinking about all this stuff. It's putting me in the headspace that I want to write. I need to write, but I can't write because I'm haunting. And I'm not even going to be home until Sunday night before I even have a chance to sit down. And then by that time, I've probably lost some motivation, or I've got other things I need to get caught up on so I can get ready for work the next day or whatever. So the ability to write is just not there. So I've got all these ideas and just no way to get them down. I started keeping a list of ideas that I have. And it's not even like well thought out ideas. It's usually just a blurb, which hopefully will spark my memory on what I wanted to do with that particular idea. I mean, if I started writing everything out, then I would have just a list of a million pages long of just topics that, are developed stories. So usually it's just one or two sentences that hopefully will spark my memory and go, okay, I'm ready to work on this one now. Can I remember what that idea was? But then sitting down to start that idea may take me in a whole different direction just because of the distance I've created between when I originally had that idea and when I actually sit down to do it. And sometimes it's beautiful, and sometimes the idea comes right back to me, and I end up writing that down. But I'm so afraid that when I get an idea, if I don't get the opportunity to write it down, at least a blurb, that I'm going to forget what that idea was when I finally get the opportunity to write it. So I have to keep making these little prompts for myself. In fact, since a lot of my ideas, they come from dreams or nightmares that I've had. I had one recently about vampires, and it was this whole systematic setup for vampires, how people become vampires, and like a whole black market that has erupted because of vampires. And I wrote out this entire idea. It's an undeveloped, unfleshed out story. I wrote out this entire idea on the system of vampires, but I have yet to actually write the story that spawned the whole thing. And I'm so afraid if I don't get around to it soon, I'm going to completely forget what it was. And so I have to keep myself in that headspace. I have to go back routinely and say, oh, did I write this idea down? Did I write this idea down? Because if I don't, I'm going to lose it. And it might have been a good idea. So I have to continually go back and look at my list and go, oh, yeah, I forgot to add this one. So I'm constantly like making my own prompts for ideas of stories that I want to write. And by doing that, I try to stay in that creative headspace and be situationally creative, because it gives me a brain nugget, something that I can go on when I'm just sitting here doing nothing else and planning it out in my head and letting the story play out.
That makes sense. Um, the drawing prompts from you had something to say, Patty?
Yeah. I like what he said about that on Brain Nuggets, but that's part of the reason why I do a lot of my writing on the phone, because I will lose them. I will absolutely lose the prompts I write for myself. So I have my phone with me. And my boyfriend complains about it. He's like, you're on your phone constantly. It's because I'm writing. It's seriously because I'm writing. I'm sitting there doing that to keep myself from losing the poem that popped into my head 5 minutes ago, or that little bit of a story that might actually be something. So I understand what he's saying there, that fear of losing things. And I've been writing on my phone since, like, he got me a BlackBerry, my boyfriend did, back when phones were still fairly a new thing, because I would sit there and write on it. I'd have it, and I would just little notes to myself. So
Yeah, I
it's
thought about that too, but man, I fucking hate typing on my phone because I got big ass thumbs, and like it covers like 3 or 4 letters at a time, and I have to be like very delicate about how I tap the letters. And if I tried writing on my phone, there would be so many damn errors. It's like, what was I trying to say here? I literally, it would look like gibberish because I cannot. I mean, my phone would have to be like gargantuan in order for it to actually fit my thumbs. I hate writing on my phone. I literally do. For as much as I text, I can't stand it.
Mine has a really neat, let me see if I can get it in the camera, really neat little stylus built in. If I can find it, there it is. See,
I
has a
would love to have a
stylus built
stylus
in.
for my phone.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I much prefer my computer and my keyboard because I can fly on that thing.
Some things I like about writing on my computer and other things on my phone. It depends on what it is, but I find the drawing prompts very helpful, but the writing prompts, like Ron said, not all of them are helpful. And I keep losing ideas. I need to do, as y'all have suggested, and write more of them down. It's just the ones that my brain keeps zeroing in on get written more. And I have halfway written stuff from like high school and middle school that I have no idea where I was going on. I just have like the pieces. And I'm having to move forward on that and figure out that. But I think the biggest ideas I get are from random things, like little scenes from book commercials that they have put up on Facebook or wherever, because there's been 2 of them that have given me big ideas. But one of the hardest parts on like one of my recent stories I'm trying to get started on, I finally figured out how to formulate it. And Raz, and I'm going to pronounce this wrong and I hope she forgives me. Sarah Sarah Dwyn May, Witch Within on Facebook. She has given these beautiful books she's been researching and writing on history of witchcraft to me. I've been using them as a way to bounce off and figure out how to research more. And I wanted to make sure that she and Raz knew that I have appreciated him explaining what the character that I was trying to figure out and how that character would work and what it would do and how it should operate in the setting I have for it. This is going to be another nursing home story. And I have appreciated the ability to sit down with somebody or be given like, here's all the information I have found. Use it to help you in the world. Just leave a review. And I think this is my video review, I should say, for her. Thank you for the beautiful books. They have been very helpful into learning and to understand myself more and the craft more and how to respectfully use it in a story. And but I wanted to touch on the idea that sometimes I have like hundreds of prompts that I've put in the groups. Patty has given me more prompts, like the list of prompts, and I've used those to make daily graphics or whatever, our prompts together. And sometimes those prompts just don't help. But sometimes doing something else, walking around the forest and finding a little pool of water that spins with a leaf on it sometimes opens up a new galaxy of stories in your head. That is something my dad has said and showed, that sometimes things out in the wild. Hey, I was just thanking you for being amazing. The things in the wild that may help.
Oh, and he's gone.
He'll be back sooner or later. I probably should not brought him in so fast. But to help, it just all depends on your mind, because sometimes how your brain will work is not how I can honestly say how everybody's brain in the house. We have autism and ADD and OCD and all the neurodivergencies that I can think of, and probably a little bit of added mental illness somewhere in there from generations past. And nobody in this house thinks the same as the other person. So remember that when moving forward, we're just happy you're writing. And I'm happy to be in a group with people who are writing. And even if you don't get published with us, we want to cheer you on and see what you're writing. My next question is, this one I wanted to ask Ron straight out, and I do want to ask Raz when he comes back, if he can come back. What has been, let me rephrase that, as a haunter, moving out, as you've moved through haunt season and ended it again for another year, how does that create either stimulus to your writing process, or does it add waning or a mix of in between?
Hmm. How does the end of haunt season stimulate or
No,
decrease?
all your experiences throughout haunt season and the end of haunt season, because it messes with your emotions. All of
Hmm.
it together it helps and hurts as it ends and
Yes.
goes through. Collective all of it.
Hmm. The end of haunt season is always a bittersweet experience where you're so glad and you're so relieved and so much more relaxed now that it's over, but it's also like losing a security blanket or um well, I went to summer camp when I was a kid for about 3 years in a row, uh, and I never thought of myself as the kind of person that would go to a summer camp, much less enjoy it. And my parents they try to placate me, like, "Oh, you're gonna love it. You're gonna make so many new friends, and blah 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 blah." And you're like, "Yeah, right. Okay, whatever." Hello. I'm legally blind. I wear thick glasses, and I'm kind of an outcast at school, and people pick on me. So why the fuck would I want to go to a summer camp where I'm going to be surrounded by other kids that are just going to pick on me? You know. But that's not how it turned out. Believe it or not, I did actually quite enjoy it a lot. And I did make some new friends, some of which I still talk to this day on Facebook. Um, and hence why I went back 2 more years after that. Uh, so it's the same feeling when you leave summer camp, knowing that you're not going to get to see those people and engage in those activities that you had so much fun doing for a whole nother year, and you have to wait. Uh, Hunt season is just like that. It's the end of summer camp when you have to go home and you won't get to see those people and you won't get to play those games or uh, go inner tubing down the river and just relax and be chill and not have any pressures and not have any stress. And that's kind of how the end of haunt season feels. It's bittersweet in that regard. So I suppose you know writing could probably help that expressing those feelings, maybe put it down in verse, like write a poem about it, or maybe to write some short stories that are loosely based around some experiences that you had while haunting or even while at summer camp. So the two can play hand in hand. But I once heard a quote when I was in high school that it was about poetry, that the essence of poetry is trying to recreate a feeling you had when you first experienced that thing. The success in writing is if you can make somebody else feel that same emotion that you had. I've written a lot of things in my life, a lot of stories. I've even recorded music. It's all shitty music, but I'm still proud of it because of all the time and effort that I put into it, all the time and effort that I put into my stories. I would love, absolutely love, if somebody could get the same enjoyment out of my stories or my music that I got out of actually creating it. And for the most part, I don't think anybody ever has. And I'm not entirely certain if it's possible because uh, we approach it from our different lives, our different experiences. So we all react to it in a different manner. But again, it's still about trying to recreate that feeling that I had when I first experienced it. So, uh, haunt season's the same way. Come next year, when haunt season comes back around, can I recreate that same kind of joy, that same kind of passion that I had the previous year, if not more so? And for that, I feel like writing and haunt season kind of go hand in hand.
I can honestly agree with that idea because I don't know if, as I write about a haunted nursing home with uh, CNAs who can see the spirits, if others can feel the emotions that would go behind that and everything. I can say I've honestly like really enjoyed reading your stuff, but no, I don't get all the same feelings you have. I have my own feelings and I'm like, read the dang book and chunk it at some people, you know? So yeah. But I've done that with all of you guys. I've literally like, here, read this. You will love it. And other authors I love, but I don't know if we have the same love you do, but it is loved.
I'm just happy if
Um,
even one person reads the damn book.
I can promise 4 people have. So, if that helps.
Okay, I'll take it.
Raz, welcome to the show.
Hello. Sorry, I got some really bad news on my way back in. Tony Todd died today.
Oh no.
I got a
No
lot of
more
personal
Candyman?
stories
That is
with Tony, so like that gutted the fuck out of me today, man. To see him at only 68 years young pass away. We still don't know why yet. But it was in his home with family. So I mean that's
Shit, that one
Tony when
hurts. That one hurts.
yeah.
God damn, that one
It was-
hurts.
is not the need into this day that I even wanted. But uh, okay, before we start crying, may he rest in peace and may their chosen deities smile upon his family. Um, Raz, since you're here, I had wanted to ask the same questions of you. Had as the time change and everything that has happened, the end of hot season and
Oh,
going
haunt season
into
ended.
the
No one told me. It sure still didn't end in this building. I don't know where y'all are living at, but haunt season is still well strong here because we have our dance tomorrow. Anyone
Mm.
that's ever
yeah,
volunteered is welcome to come down to it. And of course, we got our banquet next weekend, and then we're just gearing up for Christmas for our Christmas haunts, and we're redoing some things and some big surprises, which is just leading us to us still being in the building and working on things for our February shows. Our season doesn't end until
okay,
after Valentine's Day weekend.
okay. So let me add. Well, with that knowledge, but as everything's changing for the new season of outside life and autumn and all of that, and we're going into the holiday season. How is this affecting your writing?
I mean, haunt season's over, so I'm actually writing a little bit now, like traditional season. Like the specialty season is a lot lighter because it's not every weekend. I've got more help in the background doing things, so I can actually write a little bit more. And I just started kicking up my writing with you guys because for the first year in over a decade, I am not doing Nano. I am doing my version of Nano with you guys. So I
Yay!
haven't been doing my word count because I'm sucking at that lately. But no, I'm actually writing more. I got, I think, 6 or 7 more chapters. No, shit. 9 more chapters, I think, done of the kids' book today. And yeah, I've written alternate versions of chapters and alternate endings to see what the hell I like best because it's tricky to navigate this whole early reader kids first chapter book thing. So it's helped me with that. It's helped me with school. Got more words there, and I have to now do my first ever romance story, spicy level 4 about the Cthulhu mythos, which is that's a stretch for me, and I'm enjoying the challenge so far.
Yes, I am very curious on how that one turns out.
Me
And
too.
yeah, you
And
got happy dances from Sophia earlier from that news, though.
Hell yeah, yeah. I mean, I'll say it here. I don't know when or which of their shows it's going to be on. Mr. Jones and you, much like its predecessor, Mr. Jones and me, will be back in Creepypasta again and on the Chilling Tales Network. Also, Rorschach and Telius will be appearing in those two places as well. So that was quite a huge surprise today to just randomly wake up to my lovely friend Natalie messaging me and going, "Hey, I need a new short bio under 40 words." Like, okay, why? Did something happen? Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, and then sending me all the release stuff. So the deals have been inked. Things are done. It's just a matter of which of their channels and what the date's gonna be. But that was nice. Those are my two of my three absolute favorites that I've written within the last year. So that
This
was
is
And you
why I
guys
need
will
to
find
get
out.
back into writing so I can write something as cool as Raz and actually get it read on a podcast.
I mean, it's not just about writing. Seriously, like writing is such a small part of getting yourself out there. At this point in time in your career, if you're trying to push it, networking is 90% of what should be your goal. Because it doesn't matter how great your story is if no one's seeing them and you're not sending them out to the right people for like extra anthologies and audio rates. In a perfect world,
Yeah.
you do an amazing story with Fakor, right? In a perfect world, this is what you do. You write a great story, you get it included in an anthology. You wait until that time passes to be able to collect those stories for your own collection. Then separately, you sell the audio rights from all the contacts that you've made. So this brings max promotion to Fakor, to you, and to the places your stories are going. And it also makes you a better literary citizen because you're interacting with a lot more people to have it all happen. And I'm still poor as fuck, so it's not bringing me much money. But it's not really about the money at that point in time. It's the name recognition. You're getting a little bit of money, but you're also getting the name recognition.
Okay. The next question I asked them: do any of the prompts actually help within your writing? The prompt challenges.
Me personally, no.
No.
Um,
Okay.
Now if I don't have any ideas at all for anything, then they do. If I'm already writing things though, no, because it's already mostly planned out in my entire brain, like how it's going to start and how it's going to end, and everything flows when I'm writing. But if I don't have an idea and I'm looking for some new ideas, then the prompts do help.
Okay. And then the last question I had asked before I move on to Patty, for her answer on this particular, she gets a different phrase question because she has a different job than you guys do. How has the haunt season and end of season helped in your writing process?
I mean, I think it's different for me because I'm around horror 24/7. Even when the building's not open, even in the past, I would just be here all the time and around everything. And I'm constantly getting that stimulation from different stuff. I've written already one story about my previous haunt character that's getting another story here soon. Uh, I had just invented a brand new character I tried for one night and everybody loved it so much. I'm writing a story about him. But there are little
Ooh.
things, little details with scenes that'll spark something in my brain that'll make me go and write some notes for another story. So I mean, it's great to have that, all the different minds and all the different things you're seeing through the haunts all the time, whether it's your own or one you got to guest act at or go visit. It's helpful. I mean, it's helpful fuel, but it's not always going to be. It depends on what it is you're looking for. If you're looking for a certain like to write a monster story, haunts are great. If you're looking for scenery to inspire you, haunts are great. There's a lot of things that haunts aren't going to inspire you to write, obviously, but I mean, they definitely help you build a good basis of creativity. So I would say that haunting helps me a lot with my writing and my creative process overall. Because of
Yeah, playing off of
Awesome.
what Raz said, uh, because of the new character that I was put into, or well, the new scene, which it caused me to create a new character on the fly. We have like a mercantile. It's supposed to be a snake oil salesman, and it's right after a new scene that we put in for this year, which a little speakeasy. We have all the alcohol on the bottom. It's all behind curtains, and then when they come into the scene, everything is revealed. And then from there, they come into my scene of the mercantile, the speakeasy, or I call it the Carnival Emporium. And I'm supposed to be a snake oil salesman and selling them snake oil. So there's a lot of just random knickknacks and props and everything in this scene. Like there's a coffin in there. There's a skeleton torso on a burning pyre. For whatever reason, there's a stove. I don't know why. There's just bottles of, empty bottles that say snake oil on them. There's a couple of TVs, just random shit that they could pick up and throw into this scene. So I'm thinking, as my character, as a snake oil salesman, I have to come up with individual stories for each one of these items, because the person that's selling the item would obviously know the history of it and how it ended up in that shop, and be able to tell the story of what happened. There's a lot of podcasts that work basically on this premise as well. And the narrator, the one telling the story, it says this particular item, such and such, and here's the story behind it. So that's kind of how I'm approaching this particular character. So when, and as a writer, when I'm trying to come up with ideas for these individual props, I'm thinking, maybe I should keep that idea so I can work it into a story later.
That is awesome.
I might never even tell the
Patty.
story to a customer coming through, but it's in the back of my mind where I'm going,
Right.
that's not a bad idea, actually.
No, we want to hear about the snake oilsman's character that you told us a lot about on the last episode where we interviewed you on Chainers. We need to know more about him. He needs to be written and shared.
I came up with a name on the spot. His name was Ulysses Needham. His friends call him Yule Needham. I thought
Yes.
that was a kind of a clever name for a salesman.
Okay. So definitely go write about him and share him with us. But let's move on
That
to
is
Patty's
very
and
clever.
hers, because Patty, you are an author, you're a poet, and you are a publisher. How does juggling all of our insanity and yours help or hurt your writing?
Honestly, I'm wanting to say it doesn't, but at the same time, I get to see amazing pieces of work come through. I get to see people like Raz, who honestly, his work is seriously amazing. I get to see people. I get to see people who, honestly, I don't understand why they come to me some days. And then I look at my own work and I go, okay, maybe not. So it makes me question my own work some days. And then other days I will go, you know what? I don't care. The story's there. I'm going to write it anyway. And I think that's why the poetry gets written more than the stories, because I have more faith in my poetry than I do in my stories. And the publishing helps me to be able to see the quality of work that is out there, and helps me to be able to be involved. It helps me to be able to go, look at what I can do. I can make this pretty book because somebody wrote a really great story. But then when it comes down to my own work, I still end up feeling like, okay, maybe this wasn't as good as everybody else's. And then I get people like you who go, this is amazing. Do you know how amazing this is? And I'm like, really? Okay. So So
I
for me,
love your work.
the publishing is I get to fangirl over the stories that are handed to me, the books that are handed to me to go and publish. I get to be excited over them. I get to be excited over what I can do with them and be excited about making them real. The idea that these are not out in the world already hurts my feelings. Whether they should or not, it hurts my feelings. So,
Mm-hmm.
because I want these out there, I want these wonderful stories to be out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I said, when I publish my own stuff, it's like, well, I can just drop this in here, nobody will notice. And
I know
you do it, that helps me. It helps me a lot.
Did you not listen to the last Corpse Garden Chronicles when I said, Josh, you have got to listen to this ghost story. I love this ghost story.
I did. Why do you think I keep writing? People like you.
So, hi, Stefan. Enjoy your surfing on Jupiter. Please tell us about that in a story.
Yeah, how is that possible?
How did he get to Jupiter?
Yeah, that's what I'm
probably
wondering.
missing something, but it sounds awesome. And okay, from my end, I have read my stuff on shows with you guys, Curtis M. Lawson, and I look at my stuff, and especially, I know I am not the same type of author or writer as any of the guys in the network, any of the ladies in the network, any of the whatever the heck you are on the network at this point. But I don't want to stop writing. This has been my dream since I was younger, and it gives me a place to put my stuff down and be. And I can honestly say somebody has seen my poetry, and I'm going to keep sharing my poetry and everything. But I honestly do not feel like I come up on the same level as author as like Curtis M. Lawson or Raz or most the other big people on. No, I don't know if anybody likes my ghost story as much as they like your ghost stories, Patty or Ron. But at the end of the day, they're my ghost stories. And even Dell has found something, has said things that I didn't even notice. I know it was there, but I didn't notice how it was there. And she said it made the stories better because of how I project the story compared to how others. So I'm just happy I get to be in the group. I get this
Your
little green
stories,
fairy is found a place.
your stories have an interesting way about them. I want to say they've got a human touch to them that sometimes isn't there with some people. And I'm not saying that everybody doesn't have a human touch, but yours definitely does. And I think what a lot of people fail to realize that do write is each person has their own voice. And that's what I do try to encourage with what I publish is I want that individual voice. I want the variety of voices. One of my therapists one time told me that the reason why I am so adamant about publishing and doing the publishing, and I told this to Raz before, my voice was stolen from me when I was younger. I was told that I was lying. I was told to be silent. So for me, putting other people's voices out there just feels like such a accomplishment. I'm able to give people back the voice that was stolen from me. And I never want anybody to be silent. I always want to hear everybody's voice.
I am largely of the opinion that people write in the same manner that they talk. I voice what's in my head because that's how I think it. When I write, it's literally the words are coming in sentences, and that's how I put them down on paper because that's how I talk. So when I hear Jenny reading her work, it's very practical. It's every person relatable. Everybody has those experiences, and it's all stuff that we can relate to. Raz is an intellectual. His stuff is very psychological, very deep, makes you think. And I love that. And I'm like, man, I wish I could write as cool as Raz. But if I did that, then it wouldn't be my voice. I'm very analytical. I'm very practical and straightforward. That's how I tend to think of my stories. So that's how I write them. This happens, this happens, this happens. But in planning out the story, I realize I need this to happen before this happens because I'm going to have to explain it later. So then it's a matter of how I want to structure it. But for the most part, I'm very analytical about everything. And I think that's my voice. So I can read my stuff and usually spot the flaws in it pretty quickly and go back and fix it because that's how I hear it in my head. And sometimes I need somebody to read through it, have a beta reader read through it and say, Ron, this doesn't make any sense. Or, or this isn't consistent. This is out of place. Or what's the character's thought process on this? And I'm not thinking of it from that perspective because I'm only thinking about what's in my head. I'm not thinking about it from anybody else's voice. So I have to stop and think about it. Okay. What is the character's motivation for this? From an omniscient third person point of view, looking at it, now I need to think about it from the perspective of the character, not from omniscient third point of view of the narrator. So this is why I need beta readers to read through my stuff and say, yeah, this is good, this isn't good, this is what works, this is what doesn't work. Because in my mind, it all works. But that's what makes it so easy to miss something, which is why I need somebody to read the stuff for me and make sure I'm on the right track with it, and I've had more than one person tell me that the story adds more depth when I actually read it aloud to other people. If you just read the story in the book, it does not have the same gravitas as actually listening to me read it. I want my stories to be an audiobook format as much as the next person. But the question is, if I had a third person reading the story, would they narrate it the way I hear it in my own head? And the answer is probably not. Will it have the same effect? I'd have to hear them do it and say, wow, I really like the way they read that. Or it doesn't quite fit because it's not how I hear it in my head. So everybody's got their own voice, and we're all going to be jaded because of how we hear it in our own heads. I can't write like Raz. I don't even think I can write like Jenny. I can only write the way I write.
Me too.
I think that's the way we all write.
Yeah, I got on this a little bit. Like, I feel the same way you guys all feel. Like, I don't see myself as someone that's even known as a fucking writer, to be honest with you, at all. Like, almost not at all. I don't see any of us in any different boats, really. I look at like Steve Van Samson and also Curtis Lawson. I'm like, man, what do I got to do to get to that?
Yeah.
And then I'm utterly shocked when people think I am, like, because it doesn't feel that. I don't feel that way about my writing or myself. And that's something we struggle with imposter syndrome, and that's a part of mental health, Chad. But it's a very real thing for writers. Writers tend to surround themselves with other writers, and then we all get down on ourselves when we see those other writers like doing all these things. And in reality, it's hard to gauge because everyone's journey is their own journey, and we keep saying like that. That it's supposed to matter or make you less depressed or make the imposter syndrome not as bad. But nothing is going to make the depression less. Nothing is going to lessen the impact of imposter syndrome on you. Doesn't matter what you tell yourself. Doesn't matter what the facts are in your heart. You're going to look at another writer and be like, "That's what I want to do. Why am I not doing that?" And the trick is to untrain yourself to want to follow someone else's journey. Look at things other people are doing and then think to yourself, well, I like this, I like that. How do I do this and that? Research it. Also send them messages. Ask them how they got their writing to that point or how they got this notice or, picked up by this person or that person. And most writers are happy to tell you how. That's what I did. And every time I see someone doing something that I've not done or I've been thinking about but I've been nervous about, I talk to them. I get advice. There's a lot of projects I've got going in the background, like bigger things that I'm just not. I don't feel I'm ready at that level, but I'm still gathering all the intel. I'm doing the research now, so when I am, I can just hit it run. So like I have these like big spurts at times with my writing and with my writing career, and it's literally because I've got so many things ready to go and so many different projects that they're just waiting. And then when I feel I'm in that right spot, then you'll see me release a bunch of stuff, and then I'll kind of take a little bit of a break while I'm writing and doing a bunch of stuff in the background, ready to hit another level or find another opportunity that I got to find for myself. And I hear the word no just as much as a writer as I did when I was actually seeking work as an actor, like just as much. Sometimes more because I can submit way more stories to things in one day than I can go out on casting calls. So it's actually more devastating in a lot of ways to hear no as a writer versus the actor because as an actor, 9 times out of 10, you're getting no to the face, which is hard to deal with. But when I'm in my safety zone at home, where I'm supposed to be comfortable, and I'm reading all the rejections in my safe zone, that makes my safe zone feel a little less like the safe zone and makes me more depressed because of that. So get used to the word no. You're gonna hear it a lot. It's not about how you process handling no. It's about how you bounce back after you're told no. And that more than anything, dude, it is based on how you feel about yourself and your writing. If you don't feel like you have a voice anymore, you're probably going to quit writing or you're going to take a long break. If you know you have a voice and you're just struggling through your depression, listen to people that love you. Listen to your readers because they're going to be the ones that carry you out of that funk and get you restarted again. And I have 3 other people right here that surround me all the time when I'm in my funk and help me, move on. And Stefan, he's out there. Stefan Lear, he's a really close friend of mine, man. He was on the phone with me for a couple hours about a week or so ago, and I was not doing well, man. And it was actually the same day me and Ron talked a lot as well. That was another Ron day and a Jenny day. Like you guys, y'all don't know what you did for me. You don't know how bad you don't know how bad things were and are, and you didn't need to. You just knew things weren't right, and you reached out. And because of y'all, and all the great conversations I've had with Patty and her coming up and just being with me and haunting me with this year on top of it, man. Like you guys here will keep me going, man. Like you're the reason
I
why
wish I could have seen that. I would have loved to have been there when Patty was haunting.
it was epic, dude. But even if it's just you guys reading my shit, I'm okay with that for the rest of my life because I love you guys, and we've built a tribe together because that's what this is. This is not a family. This is a tribe now. Like we take care of each other way more than a family does. It's gone way beyond what a family is now. And I know that if it weren't for all you guys, that I would not have the courage. Yes, I mean the word courage to write, to want to say, "Hey, I'm a writer," to stand up in front of people and say, "Hey, guys, I wrote a book. I'm a writer. Check out my shit. It's over here." I wouldn't have the courage to do that without you guys. I just wouldn't. And that's, Patty, you said, I don't know why people keep coming to Fake War because I love you. I love what you do. And I want as many people as possible to meet you and be involved in what you're doing. You built us a house. We're keeping the doors open. It's what I tell Fred here at the Haunt, too. When someone that I care about builds something that matters, I want to be there. I want to help keep those doors open. And that's, then that's what we're doing here.
Us fake creatures want to be part of your core. It's not as crazy as Deadpool's core, but it's still the best core we can find on this planet.
You're damn right.
Okay, that I can honestly say earlier, I had finally been able to talk to Martha, and I told her Raz has sent the book box, and when it arrives, I'm taking my book back. And she gets her own books, but I want mine back because it's my special book. And she's like, okay, fine, I get mine though. So, and I've been so excited. The thing is, being an ARC reader is amazing. You get to find others. And I have been thinking about that. I need to ask more about these authors who do ARCs and how the process works to find out how that can help us in our processes. Because it's the idea of talking to other people sometimes is overwhelming. And it has been an overwhelming day. Hence why I'm like, hey, we're going into a season where we should probably tell the brass tacks about authors to other authors that, hey, we feel these things too. And we are going into the holiday season. And it is the hardest for people like us. People for like hunters, parents, all types of humans who have different types of neurodivergences and mental illnesses, because it is the most depressing time of year, even though it's supposed to be the most joyous time of year. And let's talk about how we can work together as a group of friends. That way others might hear about it and find ways either to join us or find a way with their group of friends to make this time of year better. I know you guys have the Haunters Association and weekly talks that
Well, that's
happen.
monthly now. It's back to monthly now that season's over, but yeah.
Okay, the monthly now, and we have padded cell. What How does that help as a haunter with that, knowing you have that group of people that you can get a hold of and uh work with to help keep each other on this planet?
I mean, again, it's like what I said about having your tribe. I've got my haunt tribe. I've got you guys are a completely separate tribe. It's not even just about writing. It's just a separate tribe. You got your people you can lean into. With an organization like OHA, a lot of us are just from a lot of different haunts that are not necessarily near each other. We can go and see each other, and some of us only talk during the OHA things, and we don't normally hang out or talk a lot. So something like an association is great though, because you still have feedback. You're still talking to people that know that know your job, that know the struggles that you're going through and the trials and tribulations, but also the fun side of it. But they're not your haunt tribe. They're not your writing tribe. They're just people that are there. They're extended family that are weathering a similar storm to you. They're great. They're amazing people, but they're not necessarily people you talk to.
Here's the thing I don't understand about the Haunter check-ins. The OHA encompasses basically 4 different states, and well over 100 haunts are represented. Anybody that is on the OHA Facebook page or Facebook group has access to the link for these haunter chats. They are posted well enough in advance. Everybody knows about them. Yet it's consistently the same 4 or 5 people that show up all the time. And I don't know why that is when it's so readily available. It's out there, it's posted, hundreds of people see it. They know it's there. Why aren't they joining? I would like to see the haunter check-ins grow just as much as I would like to see Fake Core grow, just as much as I would like to see our own haunt grow. I would like to extend the tribe. I would like to meet new people from different haunts that I haven't even been to yet. So we have that in common. Like, hey, you're an actor. You're in this haunt. I've never been, to your haunt. I'd like to learn more about it. but people don't show up. And I don't understand why. When it's out there, if you're struggling, if you need to vent, if you need to rant, maybe you had a bad season or something happened that you need to get off your chest, it's out there. But people aren't taking advantage of it. And I don't understand why. And I wish that they would. I try to uh, make an appearance when I can, usually because they're held right before we have a podcast. So I try to make an appearance at the Haunter check-in because that's me deciding that I want to be involved. I want to be a part of that. I am a haunter, and this is a way for me to be engaged and to be active in the haunt community by joining the haunter check-ins. But
You're missing
nobody else
a
is,
very
and I
important
don't
element right
understand
now.
it.
Like in your question, there's a very obvious thing you're not thinking about. Um, a big part of what the haunt industry is, there's a lot of us that have mental issues. A lot. I would guarantee you, if the entire haunt community across the world was petitioned, you would find that easily 3/4 of it are people that suffer from a lot of different mental illnesses. Honestly, and many of us are backward and not so. I may seem social on these shows, but who am I really talking to? You guys, people that tune in, I'm not seeing their faces. They may type some words on a screen once in a while and make comments, but like I'm not interacting with them right now, so I can easily ignore them. Face to face is what I care about. A lot of people can't handle that with people outside their own haunt. Can barely even handle it with people at the haunt that they work with. I know people that work at haunts with like 70, 80, 90 other people and can maybe tell you two of their names. I got a couple people at our haunt that, despite best efforts, maybe know two or three people's names and like really only show up right before they go in and leave the second they're out and don't stick around for anything. That's really rare here, but it does happen on occasion. But I think a lot of haunts are that way, like as much as we want haunts to all be family, and they really are to a lot of us, there's a lot of people that are new to that concept, that are brand new to that concept with the OHA bringing a lot of this stuff back. Haunts like ours, your haunt, fucking Carnage, Pile, like Max. There's so many of us trying to bring back the love and the community that existed back in the 70s and 80s and early 90s. We just had that time where haunts weren't together. They weren't necessarily against each other, although some were in some areas. That community was just gone. And OHA, like I said, and all these other haunts are coming together to rebuild this. And I think it's just still going to take some time for people to really realize, hey, this is being rebuilt stronger than it ever has been before, and we need you to jump on board and make that be so. And I do hope we get more people coming into the meetings and more people being involved. And the last two meetings that were done, I noticed there were 10 plus people versus 2, 3, 4 people. So not a huge jump versus the thousands we have, but at least something more than it had been.
Yeah, I think it's a cumulative effect overall because the OHA in and of itself is not really even that old. It's less than 10 years old. Maybe even, it's probably about 5 years old in total because it just started right before COVID, and we had the one convention at Mansfield,
Yeah.
and then COVID happened and we weren't able to have the second convention. And then of course we lost a lot going into COVID and not being able to haunt. Some haunts were still open, but a lot of people, they had to close for COVID. We lost a lot of people during that time.
Yeah.
So when you think about it, we're really maybe only 3 years into it, and the haunter check-ins are not even that old. This is an idea that Pyle had, and we haven't even been doing it that long. So realistically, when you think about it, with OHA being as young as it is, and then the haunter check-ins being relatively recent development from that, it takes time for these things to catch on, for people to finally start getting into it. So the more we keep doing it and the longer we do it, the possibility of it growing is cumulative. It will eventually do so. We just have to stick it out long enough for it to actually to do so, stick it out long enough for it to actually grow. And the same can be said about writing, and writing books. I got one book out there, that in the greater scheme of things, that doesn't mean a hill of beans to anybody. Okay, great. You published a book. What does that mean? Are you a one-hit wonder? or are you going to publish more books? And you look at somebody like Stephen King. The dude's got, hundreds of freaking books now, and a lot of which have been made into movies. So his popularity to becoming a living legend has been cumulative just because he stuck at it and he stayed consistent with writing and publishing books. So it's the same kind of effect. Whatever you're trying to grow, you can't take the results that you're getting right at the very beginning as what it's always going to be like. It's just, you got to stick with it. You got to be consistent with it. You got to keep doing it, because that's the only way that it's ever going to catch on and it's going to grow.
Yeah, it's true.
Patty,
It's like Owlite
you
Network.
have, yes. Patty, you've made such a beautiful place. What types of ways to check in and be a part of, and basically like the OHA, what have you set up over the years of you being publishing for us all to come together and chat?
Paycor not only has a Facebook page, which obviously comes with groups that allow chats, but there's also Discord, and the Discord channel is set up so that if any of the authors, any of my authors have their own private room. If there's an issue, they can come to me separately or whatever, and I'm there for them. I've had a couple of authors that have come to me when they were suicidal, and it's like, okay, I'm there for you. It's a thing. There's also, like I said, the Facebook, and we now have a Signal chat, which that's a new thing because one of the authors asked about it. I mean, I try to make sure that there's options for communication, and if it's needed, I will make sure that there's open communication in any way, shape, or form possible. I mean,
Yes.
I try and see Paycor as a family. I don't see us as just a bunch of writers. To my mind, that does not work. So
No. I can say I have an idea on the fake horse side. I have more of a place to be. I'm in the Honor chat. The only reason I've been in any of the Honor chats is because of what we're doing on my birthday. We are doing a stream about the OHA awards with the fake horror chat. I get to be a part of it. I get to read stuff. I get to not coincide, but I get to interact. I get to talk. I get to be a part of it. And I get to talk to other authors. I get to see their work. And I've read so many amazing things being a part of this chat and seeing, and sometimes a private chat of, hey, I love your stuff. There's been 2 of them that have taken my life to a whole new level of things, because if I hadn't private chatted Patty and Cindy or Raz, I would not be here right now. They're the whole reason why I am where I am, why I have my beautiful little stained glass owl, and Unprinted Pages is with the beautiful Dorkening Network on the Owl Light Network. And I can honestly say I want to invite any of the authors, whether you be just an author, a poet, an artist, or you're a haunter and you do any of those three things, you are invited to come join the chat. Because as far as I understand, Patty doesn't care if you get published with her or not. We want to chat with you. We want to learn from you. And we want to cheer you on. And we want to see your work. Because just randomly inviting people has gotten us to some beautiful anthologies and beautiful books.
Vacor, especially like the Discord or the Facebook, are open to any and all authors. I do want to state that I'm not going to tolerate any abuse or hate speech in any of those spaces, but otherwise, Vacor's open. It doesn't matter if you publish with me or not. You want to come in and be celebrated for being an author? Come in. We'll welcome you. That is part of what Vacor is. That is part of what Vacor always has been. We welcome the authors. We welcome the artists. And we have spaces where you can, in the Discord, you're not in any of the books, fine. There's places for self-promotion. There's places to advertise, hey, I'm an editor, or hey, I'm an illustrator looking for work. The Discord gets the calls for submissions before anywhere else. This is one of the benefits of the Discord. And it's not a forbidden place. However, anybody that abuses the system will be removed from the Discord because I'm not going to tolerate it.
You had something to say, Raz?
I don't know. I was going to say she was talking about not putting up with hate speech. I was like, yeah, we will stab faces over that.
Yeah, you will be removed by one of us.
I actually just found Patty a new writer recently. I got to briefly, very, very briefly introduce Patty to this writer who was acting in a scene as I was taking Patty through on the tour part. And it was Rika, who was our animal testing lab. Does some amazing like fantasy, like urban fantasy, that type of stuff. And I had the pleasure recently of actually getting a copy of some of Rika's writing, and it is absolutely beautiful. So I'm trying to hook him up with Patty, and I just sent him the official Discord invite. Literally just now, 'cause it's like, oh shit, I haven't done that yet. So they can actually speak to each other.
Well, then Raz has been one of your best marketers, because I'm also here because of Raz as well, and partly because of the Ohio Haunters Association, the Haunter check-ins, because he's the one that mentioned it. We're doing the Haunter check-in, and Raz is there, and he stated that he had this idea where he wanted people to submit their characters, and he wanted to write out their backstory and then put it all into a collection for character backstories, which a project hasn't happened yet, but still a possibility. So I told him that I have a character with this entire backstory, which is very Traumaville, very trauma-esque, which I think I've probably mentioned here before. And I was going to offer it up to Raz to write it out, and he's like, well, you're a writer. Why don't you do it yourself? I'll introduce you to Patty at Facor. And I was not really even aware of the existence of Facor at the time. And then next thing you know, I've got a book and 3 short stories published in anthologies, and here I am. So, and that's Raz's fault.
I feel like
through
one way or another, people will always find the place where they need to be.
Oh, yeah. She has accepted me. She has accepted my sisters. She has accepted my daughters. And I'm going to call them my nibbling, because it changes and I don't understand. So we're going to go with nibbling. He has accepted many people in my family
I like
to
nibblings.
be
I
a
like
part
nibblings.
of Paycor. So I definitely recommend here. I think the hardest part is we're going to go into Thanksgiving and we're going to go into Christmas, and not everybody has a family. So, we have a place here where we'll be doing unpadded cells, and we can have more time, like randomly scheduling them. I don't mind just randomly saying, okay, we're not going to do unprinted pages. We're not going to do corpse garden. We're going to do padded cell today. If you guys think we need that, let's go do that. And we'll just hear, and that is what we're going to do over the next holiday season, because I don't know how we're going to change Fridays in the next season. I
Well, I
don't
mean,
know if there was an idea for that.
the interesting thing to consider is that we've hit the year. We're over a year now being a network, but traditionally during these holiday seasons, we would do weekly padded cells at the other place we were at before we started our own network. We kind of did that a little bit this past the last holiday season as well. So we do tend to add a lot more of them this time of year, just simply to be there for each other, which is really important right now, guys. We're going to bring some of our older shows back for this upcoming season, like our gaming shows and stuff. But like,
Huh.
definitely see a lot more padded cell.
Oh, holy shit, bro! You just made me think of
We have
something.
Did it hurt?
Yeah, it kind of did actually. Uh, I started talking about I was literally here because of you and the OHA check-ins, which was last haunt season, which means
Yep.
I've now been with Owlite and Fakor for a year.
Yep.
And
Yep. This
I
is your
did
year,
not
Brooks,
even
man.
realize that.
Because it was right towards the end of haunt season. It was right
Yeah.
before, like, we only had like 2 more, I think, weekly meetings before it went to monthly. So yeah, you've definitely hit the year mark, man.
Wow. I didn't even realize that. I feel like I should
Crazy.
celebrate or something.
Just think next year we have to do another whole 24-hour event.
Oh boy.
So, oddly enough, speaking of haunt season, your haunt character, Raz, keeps saying one thing. You smell better, not smell better, you smell different when you're asleep. And
Oh
my
no, that's
general
just some
thought
random
is,
shit. None of my haunt characters actually say that, really. That's just a haunt
okay,
phrase that just
somebody
cracks
just
me up.
random, and I'm like, and it is honestly seems like I wanted to add it to a scene that this one author had sparked in my head from a book she wrote, but also my next question, the oddly, I would be a smart ask to the person who said that to me and say, "Do I smell better when I'm awake or asleep?" Can you just answer that
Well,
particular question?
the phrase is "you smell different when you're awake," right? And this is like an old haunt phrase that I actually started kicking up and getting people to use more. It's either you smell different when you're awake or you look different when you're awake. Like there's engage a sense and you look, sound, whatever, smell different when you're awake. And it's just a way to really screw with people. And some people hear that like, oh, and then they're starting to walk out of the scene and they turn around and look at you like, what did you just say? And then you're gone. So it doesn't matter anymore. But it is used, it is a haunt phrase, but there are definitely a lot of great haunt phrases that I can't say that I've seen really turn up in writing much.
And that's something I've wanted to actually add, because her scene was beautiful, but I wanted to take it, but I wanted to add a little bit of a different twist to it, because this author is a great romance author. I just can't for the life of me. Hold on. Let me, while I'm explaining, I'm gonna find her name. So in the book, they had stolen her husband, and she is like, now it's time to play. You guys are my new toys. And she comes in and the shadows come up, and the only thing he says is, my wife is here. Elena R. Gallia, The Choosing Chronicles. I For the romance smut girlies, that like dark romance, definitely go check that out. But that scene has just been stuck in my head. And yeah, another author that's not part of us, I'm definitely recommending the show because one, it's good for my mental health because I get to like disappear in her world. The other one is good for my mental health because she helps me become better at me. So definitely Sarah DeWin Maeve, Witch Within on Facebook, and Elena. I can't even remember what I said. Elena R. Gallia. But yeah. But the whole entire idea of these ghosts that she has brought with her to mess with their heads, to basically break their brains, getting with haunters, like older haunters, and finding out phrases that they have said that breaks people's brains as they walked out. I can honestly say that has been a new addition that I want to find out. I want to find out what some of the more freaky sayings are. And
Here's the thing about that is, and we have a lot of phrases in the haunt which we kind of consider as no phrases or taboo phrases because everybody
yeah,
uses them and they get so overused that they kind of lose their effect over time. Because if three people in the haunt use that same phrase and you're like, yeah, I already heard that one, and then it's not scary anymore. So you smell different when you're awake is one that has been around for a while. I don't know who originated it, but I've heard it a million
yeah.
times, but people still tend to use it. And okay, if only one person in the haunt is using it, it might land with maybe a couple of groups. But if these people go to haunted houses on a regular basis, they probably already heard it before. But the thing is you'll never know that. So
Mhm.
when people say stuff like, come play with me, or, do you want to play a game? Or they
Yeah.
do the whole jigsaw thing. Do you want to play a game? Or, get out. Don't say get out because they paid $25 to be in the haunt to begin with.
Thank
You don't want
you.
them to leave. You know, don't say get out. Or one that we had a problem with was fresh meat. And fresh meat is
Yes.
usually an audio cue to let you know that a group is coming through. But if everybody's screaming it, then it kind of loses effect, and you
Fresh
hear
meat
it a
is like
lot.
herpes in a haunt. It spreads
So
quickly and everyone has it.
yeah, so don't say all of these cliche phrases
But
that
with
people have been using. So the idea is to try to come up with something that nobody else has said or nobody else is using, or to say something that's already been said in a slightly different way so
Yeah.
it makes it new and it makes it fresh. That's not always easy, but that's where your creativity as a haunter comes into play.
And I swear to God, if you say boo, I'm stabbing you directly in the face.
but if the ghost comes up behind you and say, with the thought process that you smell different when you're awake, the idea that I pulled from that particular phrase was she sneaks up behind him and you see the black just pouring out of her eyes, and she looks at him, and with that idea it brought your cologne, and she says the name brand. I really like that you use this cologne, and says something like, um, why do you keep it in such a weird place? Because I've found some guys that keep their like deodorant and cologne up by their keys so they remember to put it on. And with the knowledge of that type of thing, because when you have a whole bunch of ADHD people, you have to have it in weird places. But yeah, like noticing things like that from these haunt phrases, it spins an idea of an alternate scene. You smell
Well,
different than you're awake. Why
the
not just ask
idea
the question of that would throw them off? This is not the full scene, but it is like what I'm playing with at the moment.
the idea of you smell different when you're awake is supposed to be that the person who's saying it is implying that they've been watching you while you're asleep. That's
Right.
what makes it creepy. Like, why were you watching me while I was asleep? It doesn't really have anything to do with how
Yes.
you smell. It's the fact that they've been watching you while you were sleeping.
Or they're up on you, smelling you while you sleep. Like
Yeah, you smell
Yeah.
different when you're awake.
But if
How would
this
you
ghost
know
has
that?
been wandering around your house and it finds weird little things you've hidden, because that idea of that has spun into the idea of, but what if the ghost not only noticed you smell different when you're awake, but also, why do you keep this thing in such a weird place? Or asks a question that only they would know that is part of their house. So, what other things can you learn from haunters that would spin into new ideas of where they can scare you?
Alan Hops, his haunter in Texas, owns his own haunt. He's also a prop maker, actor trainer, just all around great person. He describes what he calls as the Dorito scare. And
Okay.
I'm not,
You know?
Raz, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Dorito
I am.
scare. If you've heard this
That's why I'm
before.
already laughing.
Okay. So the Dorito scare is you say something to the effect of, I'll see you later tonight. I'll be hiding under your bed.
Yep.
And you set it up that way. And people laugh it off, ha 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 ha, and whatever. Maybe you chase them out to their car in the parking lot if your haunt allows that kind of thing. Some do, some don't. Depends on how extreme the haunt is. But the Dorito scare is when the people think that they're safe and they finally get home. There you are sitting on their couch eating a bag of Doritos.
Yeah.
And then they still have to look it under the bed.
I have this thing that I do
That's
when if I'm over in photos, like, because you take your photo before you go in, right, and then you get your photo printed out at the very end of the haunt when you walk out, right? It's like going to an amusement park, more or less, is how we have it set up. So you get it, and while people are staying there debating on whether they want the picture, if I'm near pictures, I'll come out and go, "Wow, that's a great photo of the last time you were all seen alive together." And they're like, "What?" I'm like, "No, seriously, check the back seat of your trunk, or check the back seat of your car, and check your trunk. I am missing 9 clowns, and I only actually hired 4 of them." And I'll just walk away, straight face, and people will just be like, "Is he serious?" And then no one will answer. And you'd be surprised how often I get photos sold there. And now, my good friend Kate helped out a lot for pictures this year, and she started doing it when I wasn't there. So, like, I think we're actually selling more photos now because, like, just different ones of us that are over there have like our own little shticks to get people to. This is your proof of life photo. You need to buy this.
You and that
okay.
freaking photo. I gotta go get it. I gotta go get it.
Yeah, well, you got a rare
Okay.
hot photo of me.
I got it.
Okay. Let me.
Let me get it in the
Put it
picture.
on, there we go. Put it on the big screen. Okay.
This
Yeah, I
way.
gotta see if I can. There we go. I got it.
That is. I love that
That's my
picture.
I'm presenting him like Vanna White.
Yeah, they should be presented like Vanna White. But okay, what is this is more of
And
an
the
author
clowns.
question.
Oh,
What?
I'm sitting there in his office. I'm sitting there in his office after doing the haunt, and one of the clowns goes by and starts singing, "Every day I'm a little closer to taking a bath with my fucking toaster." And I'm the rest of the night
Nathan.
that is stuck in my head.
Yep, that's Nathan. He's one of our cute guys. He's amazing. Dude actually trained to become a clown in New York.
And I'm sitting there going, "Okay, fine." And then
Okay,
but
that's beautiful.
I will be right back from a new location.
Alrighty. You can answer when you come back. I'll ask them while you're gone. What is the weirdest thing, the most off-putting thing that somebody has said to you that has turned into a story?
Hmm.
Which one of you guys want to go first?
That requires actually being able to remember shit.
Yes. Well, the other question is, how do we want to continue cohabitating and writing together when we get into the most joyous / depressing time of the year?
Patty was laughing over there about something. I'm kind of wondering what she's laughing at.
You saying that's requiring memories. For me, that's what I was sitting there thinking. I'm sitting there going, okay, how am I supposed to remember what story was inspired by what?
I don't fucking know. I write shit. I don't, once it's out there, I don't think about how it happened anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you ask me on a specific story what inspired it, I might be able to remember, but that's with the story in hand, and I'm looking at it and I'm going, okay, where was my mind when I was writing it? Oh, yeah.
It's funny that you should say that, Patty, because I've been writing a good majority of my life. So my location for writing has changed periodically throughout my life. I've lived in a bunch of different apartments. I've lived in different houses and all of that. So I have a hard time remembering where I was when I wrote a certain thing. I'm like, okay, now did I write this when I was living in St. Pete or was I still living in North Carolina? I don't fucking know. I have no idea. I can't remember. Like, for example, urban legend. I can't remember where I was living when I wrote that story. My brain, my knee-jerk reaction is to say that I was living in Dublin, Ohio when I wrote it. Living at what the fuck was the name of the apartment complex? Shit, I don't know. It's not important. So I think I think I was living in Dublin, Ohio when I wrote that story. But I could just as easily have been living in Jacksonville, Florida, or St. Petersburg, Florida, or Tampa, Florida, because I've lived in all of those places and I've written in all of those places. I can't remember like the logistics. I might remember what inspired the story, but I can't remember the logistics of when I actually sat down to write it. So you asked me, what's one off-putting thing that I turned into a story? I don't fucking know. I can't remember. It's done. It's gone. It's out there.
Okay, the story, two stories. The one about the lady being in the closet with the ghost baby head and then him seeing it later that week walking down the street with the stroller with just the head in it. Okay, that story mixed with the empty house across the street in a totally different town by another person where the piano would play all by itself, and it's not a piano that is set up to play any type of music all by itself. It'd just be playing music all by itself, and you can hear it from outside, and nobody's there. Had started the idea of a whole entire book series. What about ghost hunters who are trying to find a house? And then all the ones that keep coming up in the listings are the ones that either they or fellow paranormal investigators have actually investigated. And those, especially the one with the baby part, that was disturbing. So that is why I thought you guys might have something that be like right there in your memory that had messed with you enough to like your brain goes back to it every so often.
Nothing that I would consider off-putting, but sometimes conversations will happen or things will happen that will give me an idea for a story, and then I just sort of riff it and I run with it. Like, for example, with the SCP podcast and some of the weird stories that they do, and for part of my job, we use a lot of lingo or jargon at my job that the outside person would not understand. So
Understandable.
I was thinking about how I could use some of the terminology or some of the jargon that we use at my job that other people wouldn't understand, and maybe change it in such a way that I could take the same premise for that terminology and slightly change it to something people would understand. For example, we have what's called traceability. And traceability is when we work with contractors on specific materials, and I'm not going into the details of what I do, but this just to explain. Traceability is when we work with contractors on specific materials, they have to be able to prove that the materials came from a specific source. So they have to trace the material all the way back to the source, and they have to provide a certificate of conformity, and they have to provide all of the trace documents that show when and where the material came from. So I can take this same concept and convert it into something else and use that into a story. So I can say I have a gang of investigators, for haunted houses. All right. And they have a specific department within their gang of investigators that determine traceability of stories. Somebody claims that this house is haunted, and then the team that does traceability will have to trace that story back to where it originated in order to determine whether or not the story has any credibility, so that they can go investigate this haunted house to see if it's actually legit, rather than just going in blindly and wasting their time. So same concept, I'm just using it in a different manner.
That makes perfect sense.
Come on.
You,
God, you whiny ass. Now I
do
understand what
you
WAP
have
stands
any?
for. WAP. It's whiny ass pussy. Come here, you whiny ass pussy. Here's the whiny ass pussy.
Hi, Ori.
God. Up
What
my
about
butt
you,
all the
Patty?
time.
Do you have any that you've thought of?
Well, with the stories, most of them came from like my my games and such that I played or ran, or they came from situations where it was um, brought up for one reason or the other. There was not a situation that was a standout thing. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah. Okay. of all, I think one of the last questions, since we're about to hit the 2 hour mark, I wanted to ask is, moving forward as an author and a human and trying to be here and a better you, or at least feel like you are you, what type of advice would you like to give other authors?
Go ahead, Patty.
Quite simply, don't believe your own thoughts. You're better than you think you are, and you're not alone. There is a whole community of people if you just reach out. And it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to be this person or that person publishing you. You can just be a part of the community. And sometimes that's all you need. Find yourself a reader, somebody who honestly believes in what you're doing, because that makes a world of difference too. That little bit of encouragement can go a long way. And if somebody doesn't like your work, they're not your reader.
Very true.
I would say,
Ron?
yes. I would say anything that is created with a passion is worth doing if you believe in it enough to do it, because inevitably someone will take notice. If you believe in what you're doing and you're truly doing it because you're passionate about it, then you won't have to work that hard to get it noticed. It will just happen. And when it does happen, that will be all the validation that you need to continue. And a little goes a long way. That's all it really takes. It's one person to go, hey, this is really good. I'd like to see more of your stuff. And that, just like I said before, it's a cumulative effect. And the more you do it and the more you put out there, then the more it will start getting noticed. So you can't discredit yourself right at the very beginning when you haven't even put it out there yet. If you believe in it and you're passionate about it, then don't worry about what's going to happen. Just let it happen.
Okay. It took me 35 years. And that seems like a humongous number because I am fixing to be 38 in a few short days. 35 years to find my place, my tribe. Because there are publishing companies that expect you to be at a certain place. And I am nowhere near that place because I am not that skilled, because I haven't had the ability to put the amount of work needed to make myself that skilled. But I found a place where I could be where I'm at and work on it. And that's what you need to do. Keep searching. Don't give up. Sometimes it takes random weird messages to people, and the next thing you know, you have a place you didn't expect that existed, or you guys come together and make a new place that is for everybody. And that's what we have done. The Owl Light Network is a new place for our special kind of beautiful people. The Fake Horror Network, the Fake Horror publishing company was around whenever I found them, thanks to a con. And I am grateful that I get to be a part of them. I know I'm always purple, but I was a green fairy first, and this green fairy finally has a place to stay. So, guys,
I have a question.
yes.
We are a group of writers, and we call each other our tribe. So, as a group of writers, would that make us the scribe tribe?
My sister said we were. Sonia said we were.
We
So,
are now
yeah.
collectively known as the scribe tribe.
I will let her know that you have agreed that we are now the scribe tribe. She will be happy that we have taken her name. It's okay. My brother-in-law came up with the Unprinted Pages name. Well,
good
up there
name.
in the corner, I can see it. But yeah, I appreciate the name he gave my show, and I apparently appreciate this name that both Ron and Sonia had. Well, Melanie, I should say. I cannot say Melanie for the life of me. When she was born, took many speech classes to get to that point. So yeah, words are hard.
Aren't they, though?
Okay, I guess since Raz has
Abandoned us.
he has not abandoned us. There is something that needs to be taken care of, that has to be taken care of. And we are not mad at him. We still love him, and we look forward to seeing him later. But I guess as we're hitting the 2-hour mark, because I'm not normally a 2-hour show, let's leave. You know what? Let's do something different. Tell us your favorite book that you want more people to read and where to find you. Let's start with Patty.
Okay. I think I need a clarification on that. My favorite book that I want more people to read, my favorite book of mine, or my favorite book overall?
Your favorite book that you have written that you want more people to see.
I think that would
Or
have to
with
be
Ron.
Death of Neverland.
Death of Neverland? Okay. I love that story.
While I like all the rest of them, that one has a special place for me. Where to find me? I would say Fakor, but that tends to be you half the time. Usually I'm either Patty Mouse on all of the social medias, or I'm Serenity's Ball, depending on whether you're looking for Patricia or Serena. So it's not hard to find me. I've tried to keep my socials pretty much the same. Somebody recommended that once, and I kind of grabbed it and went with it. So Serena is Serenity's Fall everywhere. I'm Patty Mouse everywhere. It's not hard to find me.
Okay. Ron, it doesn't exactly have to be your book. It could be one of the stories that you have written that has been published in another anthology that you wish more people to see.
Well, obviously,
But
I want them to see them all. I mean, I really want more people to see this book here, wherever it is on my screen, somewhere over here, maybe that way. I feel like YMCA over here. My arms are blurry. I really would like for more people to check out Inside My Nightmares because, in my honest opinion, they're all pretty solid stories. I mean, I do actually think that it is some good work. Whether or not other people agree or disagree with me, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I would like for them to at least read the book and form an opinion about it one way or another and let me know, because leave a review. I need to know if it's a good review or a bad review, so I'll know what I need to work on for the next time. That's how I'm going to improve as a writer. If people aren't leaving reviews, then how do I know what I need to work on? You know? And as far as the short stories in the anthologies, I've got 3 now. Uh, The Fairy Trap and Fey Propaganda, which I love that story because it just kind of popped into my head when Patty posted this was the theme of the book, and it was loosely based on an actual event that happened that I had a chance to witness, and I thought it was just a really neat story that spawned because of that one event that I witnessed. The Owlite Menagerie with the owl and the mouse. I think it's just a clever story. Uh, I really, it really is a
You get
clever
2 in
story.
1.
When
It's a twofer.
Twofer, what's that?
It's a twofer. You
What, the owl and the mouse? Yeah, because
without
there's 2 stories.
you get the owl and the
The
mouse,
plot,
and you
yeah,
get the owl and mouse and what they're seeing.
and how the plots are intertwined. Yeah. So I really do think it's a clever story with this chase between the owl and the mouse, and then what's actually happening. That's happening as a result of that particular chase, and just the whole uh, relationship between predator prey and which one's the predator and which one's the prey. And then for the last one with Nightmare Whiskers, that story also just sort of popped into my head when Patty told me the theme of it. And it all actually started with the comic idea of Nightmare's whiskers, and Nightmare being the cat and having magical whiskers. But that wasn't the story that needed to be told. It was just a means to get to the story that I wanted to tell with Nightmare and the Gronk. And I fucking love Gronk. It's probably one of my favorite characters that I've written, and I really would like more people to read that story because I think it's something that uh, a lot of people could actually relate to once they actually read it, and maybe they would feel the same way I do about the Gronk as well. So, yeah, I mean, it would be really hard for me to say my favorite story or my favorite book because, and they're all my favorite story. You know, how am I gonna like? They're all my children. How am I gonna say, I like this
Okay.
one better than the other? You know, they're all
Where do you
they all
want us to
have their
find
own
you?
merits. Where can you find me? That is a harder question to answer because I move around so much. Uh, no, seriously though. You can find
So
me
you're no
on
longer in
Facebook
your
under
apartment?
yeah, I'm right here. Can't you see me? I'm right here. I'm literally sitting in front of the camera. How can you not see me? All right, I'm not John Cena. I'm Ron Cena. No. Uh what was it? Where was I going with this? I don't know. Yeah, you can find me on Facebook under my author page, Ronald W Gillespie Jr. dash author, for all the things that I'm doing writing wise, which admittedly lately hasn't been anything because, as I said at the top of the show, I ain't written shit, and I need to get back into that. So maybe tonight's show will actually inspire me and help me to do that. And also outside of that, I am, as you can see by my shirt, a professional martial artist by trade, and I am on TikTok under the name at Wolf Dojo, WULFDOJO, where I try to make martial arts related content. So if that's the kind of thing that you're into, then feel free to check that out as well. And as I usually say, otherwise, if you can't find me there, just check with Friday, and she'll get you in touch with me somehow, some way, somewhere, sometime. And other
I
than
can
that,
usually get a hold of
yeah, I mean, I'm pretty easy to find on Messenger, so and I
Okay.
respond pretty quickly because I have no life.
My problem is I cannot decide between All the Emotions at Once or 1014 Midsummer Lane. Both of them, I think, are some of my better ideas. I'm hoping that they're some of my better writing. And I just really love the stories because having me choose between Sage or Friday is hard. But you can find me at Owlite. You can find me at Fakehor. You can find me at Friday with the Library in the Blue Box. And you can find me at my author page, Jennifer Elliott. And I love to spread the chaos that all of my author friends write because you will find me sharing them all over the place in different groups and places. So please remember, I think the one thing I want you to understand is this season is hard. The time change is hard. Your writing deserves to be heard. You deserve to be seen. And you deserve the space you take up. And please spread out, write, print it, get it where we can all enjoy it because we want to see your writing. We want to hear your poetry. We want to see your art. We want to hear your stories. So please keep writing, keep trying. And if you need a tribe, come find us. Because even if you just look up Fakehor Book Club, the Fae Asylum, come find us. We want you here. We want you with us. And I don't care if you're published by Fakehor or not. I want to read your books. I want to still be published by Fakehor, and I think Ron does too, because this is our home. Thank you for joining us tonight, and we hope you guys are blessed. We send all the love and blessings we can. Mwah!
Greetings and shabibans. We are the Retro Redoctopus Cephala Podcast, a long-form bi-weekly show that celebrates all the things that made growing up awesome.
Yeah, that sounds good, but I don't know what all those words mean.
I think what Parasite Steve's trying to say is that on Retro Redoctopus, we explore a range of retro goodness, from toys, video games, and movies, to cartoons, and even snacks and school lunches.
Oh.
And we do it all with a positive spin, a slew of killer guests, and some very adult language.
And you know what else is cool?
No.
This crazy show is part of the Your King Podcast Network with new episodes every Tentacle Tuesday.
What's that?
And if waiting 2 weeks for a new episode gives you a sad, know that we drop bonus episodes all the time, like the off-format Crow's Nest and an interview series we call The Brig.
You can listen to Retro Redoctopus on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any app that's cool enough to carry the only show that celebrates all the things that make growing up awesome.